All right, it's almost 6:45, so I want to welcome everybody to the inauguration of the 62nd president of the State Bar of Georgia, Mr. Ivy Cadle. Yes. And I am the happiest guy in this room today. I would like to start us off by calling Justice Ellington to give the invocation.
I think most of y'all know that Ivy is a lawyer with a pilot's license, but some of us think that he'd rather be a pilot with a bar card. But anyway, but when he was thinking about somebody to give the invocation, he called on me, and I didn't take any real offense to it, but as somebody who flies with him often, sometimes when there's a little turbulence, sometimes when there's a little crosswinds, when we're coming into Vide or Swainsboro or PDK, I might bow my head and say a little prayer. Now, I'm not sure if it's my praying or his flying, but so far, so good. But this next year, under Ivy's leadership, we expect the State Bar to soar to greater heights, to travel great distances, and safely land at Sawgrass next year. Now, most of us know Ivy's a lawyer. He's a pilot. He's a certified public accountant. But before all of that, and before he follows the Georgia law, he's an Eagle Scout. And he follows the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Now, I'm still having trouble reconciling that cheerfulness of Ivy and that laughter and reverence. So y'all gonna have to help me out with that one. Anyway, before we pray tonight, I was asked to remember, as it was put out in our programs earlier this week, our members, 93 members who have passed away this past year. At this time, we pause to pay tribute to them. As we reflect upon the memory of these members, we are mindful of the contributions they made to the bar and to our state. Each generation of lawyers is indebted to the one that precedes it. Each of us is the recipient of the benefits of the learning, dedication, zeal, and standard of professional responsibility that those who have gone before us have contributed to the practice of law. We are saddened that they are no longer in our midst, but privileged to have known them and to have shared their friendship over the years. Tonight, as we remember them, as we remember Ivy and Leslie in this next year, before we pray, I shared this with the court earlier this year. I was stuck in traffic one day on I-16, and there was a 18-wheeler in front of me. It had a sign on the back of it. And it said, "If you eat today, thank a farmer. If it's on your table, thank a trucker. If you eat in peace, thank a veteran." So tonight, as we celebrate the State Bar, celebrate a new year of leadership, and as we eat and fellowship together, let's thank a farmer, a trucker, and a veteran. Let us pray. Father, for your love and your mercy and your goodness to us, we give you thanks. For the state and the nation in which we live, for the freedoms and the opportunities we enjoy as Americans, we give you thanks. For our system of justice, for the rule of law, we give you thanks. And tonight, we thank you for the State Bar of Georgia. We thank you for Tony Del Campo and his leadership this past year. And we ask you to bless Ivy and Leslie this next year as they go through this journey together. And now we ask you to bless this meeting. We ask you to bless the food that we're about to eat with these friends and this fellowship time together. Amen.
Thank you, Justice Ellington. All right, I would like to now introduce our distinguished guests that are with us here this evening, and we have a lot of them. From the Supreme Court, I think we have all of them here with us tonight. We have Chief Justice Michael Boggs, Presiding Justice Nels Peterson, Justice Sarah Hawkins Warren, Justice Charlie Bethel, Justice John Ellington, Justice Carla McMillan, Justice Sean LaGrua, Justice Verta Colvin, and Justice Andrew Pinson. Give them a hand for being here. From the Court of Appeals, we have Chief Judge Amanda Mercier, Judge Chris McFadden, Judge Elizabeth Gobeil, Judge Todd Markle, Judge Ken Hodges, Judge Ben Land, and Judge Jeffrey Watkins. Give me a round of applause. Thank you all for your support. I would now like to recognize our sponsors, our 5 gavel sponsors, Member Benefits, Inc., our hotel card key sponsors, Baker Donaldson. Great job, guys. DGL, you guys dropped the ball. I didn't get a card last year. So well done, Baker Donaldson. That's Dax's fault. The conference bag sponsor is Peach Court, and the coffee snack break sponsors were the consumer law section. Thank you to all those sponsors. We also want to thank the many sections and businesses who contributed toward the opening night festival. We could not have done all of those things without them. Now we are the part of the program where we honor the Employee of the Year. The Employee of the Year honors a staff member of the State Bar for distinguished dedication to carrying out the ideals of the bar and commends the individual's exemplary work, conscientious manner, and positive attitude. At this time, I'd like to ask Ron Turner to come on up. Come on, Ron. I see Sherry Boston doing some money sign over there. I know Martin's happy about that too. Ron has been an integral part of the State Bar of Georgia for many, many years, leading our finance department for more than 10 years collectively. He has demonstrated exceptional dedication and expertise as the bar's chief financial officer. Ron's primary role is to ensure the proper management and accurate reporting of accounting, payroll and employee benefits, membership and management information systems and functions. But the totality of his work is so much more than that. Through strategic management and leadership, Ron has driven a constant pattern of below budget results. And with this group, that is not easy. Multiple clean audit findings for the State Bar, appropriate returns for our assets, and a commitment to transparency and accountability in the finance department. Ron is absolutely trusted by all of the bar officers, and we lean on him heavily when it comes down to talking about the budget and the finances. And you often, Ron, what is the answer to that question? Because most of us are not accountants and we don't really know. So we rely on Ron to do the excellent work that we do. And also, the Board of Governors relies on him as well. He is respected by his peers and admired by his colleagues for his financial knowledge, no matter how nuanced the issues might appear. We're even more grateful for Ron's calm demeanor and thoughtful and deliberate processing prior to taking action. And just as significant, his dedication and good-natured approach to his work and responsibilities. I did want Damon to say a few words about Ron before we actually give him the award.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Tony. Thank you. I can't add much more to that. When we were evaluating this decision, it was unanimous by the senior leadership who should be the award recipient, which means Ron voted for himself, as a matter of fact. So, no, zero lies told. But it's everything that Tony said and more. You remember it was Ron's teams that were on the front line a couple of years ago when dealing with our unauthorized access event. It's Ron's responsibility that not only brings us in below budget, but then is also dealing with unallocated cash. So he's causing the problem and fixing the problem at the same time. It's Ron's work in the last year in particular that has been paramount in the effort that we have gone through to fill the space at 104 Marietta Street. And it is no small feat. He has served as a broker, a project manager, and everything in between. So it's for all of those reasons, it's for all of his work that this was a clear decision this year. So thank you.
All right. So it is now my honor and my privilege on behalf of the membership and staff of the State Bar of Georgia to present him with the 2024 Employee of the Year Award for his significant achievements in financial management, his unwavering dedication to the bar, his exceptional leadership, and for his unfailing commitment to serving both the public and the State Bar. Thank you. All right, so that takes us to the Distinguished Service Award. The Distinguished Service Award is the highest honor bestowed by the State Bar of Georgia for conspicuous service to the cause of jurisprudence and to the advancement of the legal profession in the state of Georgia. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and our 2024 recipient is being honored for an exceptional career spanning 48 years as a member of our State Bar and an outstanding leader in the legal profession and justice system of our state. Our recipient began his legal career as a corporate and trial attorney in Atlanta. He worked in private law practice for 21 years prior to his election as judge of the State Court of DeKalb County back in 1998. During his career of nearly half a century, our honoree has served in numerous capacities of leadership, including terms of president of the Georgia Council of State Court Judges and as the chair of the State Bar of Georgia Disciplinary Board's investigative panel. He has also received many prestigious awards for his service, including the State Bar's Chief Justice Thomas O. Marshall Professionalism Award and Tradition of Excellence Award, as well as a Distinguished Alumni Award from Atlanta's John Marshall Law School, where he earned his law degree prior to his admission to the Georgia Bar in 1976, having previously earned his undergraduate degree from Auburn University. Go Dogs. I should also mention that our recipient is a native of Hong Kong and moved to the United States when he was 14 years old. So without further ado, Judge Alvin T. Wong, please come on up. There are several other accolades about Judge Wong that I briefly would like to include in the presentation of this award. He was the first Asian Pacific American to run for public office in Metro Atlanta and the first to be elected as judge in the Southeast. He's served, yes. He has served as a board member of the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association and as co-editor of its Thomas Tang Moot Court competition. He was honored by the Daily Report with his Professional Excellence Lifetime Achievement Award, by the National Asian Pacific Bar Association with its Trailblazer Award, by the DeKalb Bar Association with its Legal Pioneer Award, and by the OCA Asian Pacific American Advocates with a Citizen of the Year Award. In 2014, the Georgian Asian Pacific American Bar Association, which he co-founded, by the way, established the Judge Alvin T. Wong Pioneer Award in his honor. In November of last year, the Georgia Council of State Court Judges honored Judge Wong with his highest honor, the Ogden Doremus Kent Lawrence Award, for his community involvement in the judiciary's COVID-19 response, which focused on improving the efficiency of the judicial system during the pandemics. On a more personal note, Judge Wong has not only been a mentor to me, but an unbelievably good friend and a true friend. He was one of the first judges to welcome me when I was a really young judge in the State Court of DeKalb County. And I knew I could always turn to him for his sage advice and seek direct and practical advice on how to run my courtroom. He's known to be a little tough on young lawyers, as some of you might have been the victims of his wrath, but I can promise you his bark is way worse than his bite. In fact, one of my first appearances after leaving the bench, I walked into a calendar call with a courtroom full of lawyers. And as he walks in, I see that twinkle in his eye and he says, "Sit down, Mr. Del Campo." And as soon as I sat down, he says, "Stand up, Mr. Del Campo." And he had me doing calisthenics for about 30 minutes. And of course, he thought that was the funniest thing ever. So I get to roast him a little bit today. But Judge Wong, our legal community in our state owes you considerable appreciation for your many, many, many contributions upholding the foundational American ideal of equal access to justice for all during your nearly 5 decades of service to the practice of law as a state court judge and professional leadership to the State Bar of Georgia. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I would read the proclamation, but I remember when folks do that, it's like, it's really long. You've heard everything that's in here. If anybody wants to read it, it'll be available. But I do want Judge Wong to say a few words. So Judge Wong.
Thank you. I had no idea. I would address better. Thank you all so much. I was sworn in on June 11, 1976, standing in the steps of the Fulton County Superior Court. Had my bar certificate in my hand, took a picture of it. I had hair then, a lot of hair. Had I known, I would have blown it up for you. It has been an incredible journey. There is nothing better than to have practiced law and be a judge. Every year have a chance to be with friends. Thank my former law partner, Linda Klein, for getting me into Gambro and Stokes, now Baker Donaldson. Encouraged me to run for office. My wife, my governor of all time, my wife, who tells me what I cannot do. So I hope all of you will enjoy your journey as a lawyer, as a public servant, as much as I have. I'm grateful for your friendship. I'm very thankful for this recognition. Thank you very much.
You know, this has been a phenomenal bar year, and people have been telling me and congratulating me for what a great year this was. What I've been telling folks, it really isn't about me. It's not about my year. It's really the year that you inherit, right? And so I remember Don Jones inheriting the COVID year, which we had to do everything remotely and all those challenges. So my year has been relatively easy. But it has been great, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. If you were here last year when I was sworn in, I'm sorry if I made you cry. I promise not to do that today. And I also will not bring up my anger translator, who made an appearance earlier yesterday. I think we did that, because we are here to honor Ivy Cadle, the 62nd president, and he's going to do a fabulous job. We've been working hand in hand, and I could not have asked for a better person to lead after I leave. But I'm going to take just a very, very few minutes of personal privilege to thank the entire staff. And I know you've heard me at every meeting be so thankful to all of our staff. And when you become president and all of the hours that it takes to be president, you don't realize how much work our over 100 employees do day in and day out to make sure that the business of the bar gets done. So I want to really thank all of our entire staff, Damon, Sarah, Ron, and Paula for all their help and all of their staff beneath them. But just for the record, yes, thank you. But for the record, I was not wrong, and my anger translator was not wrong when we talked about Damon, because if you'll notice, he is wearing a tuxedo tonight. He did not wear a tuxedo when I got sworn in. He's wearing his twinkly shoes tonight. He did not wear those twinkly shoes when I was sworn in. So Damon, I know you're going to stop taking my calls, and that's okay. I love you, bro. All right. It never ends. It never ends. I also want to thank another person on our staff that is so critical to what we do in these meetings. That's Gaki Kasamba. I don't know if she's in here today, but Gaki, are you here? There she is. She's in the back. Y'all don't even know how hard she works to make these meetings run smoothly as they do. And it seems like it's so easy, so seamless. But anytime somebody's, reservation gets messed up, she's getting all those phone calls and she's doing everything and the food's not right. I mean, she really does an amazing job, not just in the annual meeting, but every meeting that we have of the Board of Governors. And so I want to thank you, Gaki, for all you've done for this meeting, and all the other meetings. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, that's the kind of leadership I'm talking about. All right, lastly, I want to thank my partners, Dax Lopez and Randy Grayson. When we do this, what we call our bar year, it really takes up, almost half of our time. And I could not have done it without their support, their help, picking up the slack when I couldn't be there. So thank you, Dax and Randy, for all that you've done for me. And lastly, and most importantly, none of us who get to any positions of power or authority get here by ourselves. And so I just want to thank my beautiful bride, Kelly Maria Phipps Del Campo, for being a great first lady of the state bar. And, and it's not just 1 year, right? When we do this, we've been doing this for like 18, 20 years, and it's coming to every meeting. And because she's a non-lawyer, having to listen to us go drone on and on and on. And so thank you so much, my love, for all that you've done for me, all that you do for our family. We love you with all my heart. All right, I'm moving on to the business of the bar. If we could please bring up Justice Boggs. And then if Chris Twyman, President-elect, Bill Gentry, Treasurer, and Javon Hicks, our new secretary, would come up for the swearing in of the officers.
My honor to administer the oath to the officers. If you will all please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Devon Henry,
swear that I will truly and justly,
swear that I will truly and justly,
honestly and uprightly,
honestly and uprightly,
conduct myself as a member
conduct myself as a member
of this learned profession,
of this learned profession,
and in accordance with
and in accordance with
the Georgia Rules of Professional Conduct
the Georgia Rules of Professional Conduct
as an attorney and counselor,
as an attorney and counselor,
and that I will support and defend
and I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Georgia.
and the Constitution of the state of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, John. All right. If we could please bring up Mr. Ivy Cadle, the 62nd president, to the stage for the ceremonial passing of the gavel, this ridiculously large gavel.
Drop the gavel already. Leslie.
Starting out swimmingly, is it not? Is anyone surprised? Leslie, if you'll come up, please. Ivy, if you'll please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ivy Cadle,
I, Ivy Cadle,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will execute the office
that I will execute the office
of President of the State Bar of Georgia
of President of the State Bar of Georgia
and perform all of the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all of the duties incumbent upon me
faithfully to the best of my ability
faithfully to the best of my ability
and understanding
and understanding
and agreeable to the policies
and agreeable to the policies,
bylaws,
bylaws,
and
and
rules and regulations
rules and regulations
of the State Bar of Georgia
of the State Bar of Georgia
and laws
and laws
and Constitution
and Constitution
of the State of Georgia
of the State of Georgia
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Justices of the Supreme Court of Georgia, judges of the Court of Appeals, judges of the Superior and State Courts, fellow officers, members of the Executive Committee, members of the Board of Governors, distinguished guests, family, and friends. This is an incredibly humbling moment as I stand before you to serve as the 62nd president of the State Bar of Georgia. And today, you will find that my remarks I've tried to keep brief, which anytime a lawyer stands before a judge or even a room of judges, we all know that's a lie. But I'm going to try. I'm going to give you a little history. I'm going to thank a lot of people. I'm going to say a little bit about what we're going to do, and then we're all going to go have a good time. My path to this career was an interesting one. My lovely father, who sits down here, loves his profession. So in his effort to share his love of his profession, he took me to the courthouse in Emmanuel County when I was 15 to teach me how to research a title on Saturday morning. Now, you got to understand that the records room in the Emmanuel County Courthouse, which he later tore down as a county commissioner, is a big, nasty vault that was filled with smelly books, and you could still smoke in the courthouse then. And so as I left in my 1983 Cavalier that I eventually inherited, I was like, why on earth would anybody want to do this? So being from a small town, I set my sights on the next most obvious profession, medicine. And so as a junior in high school, I went to EMT classes at Swainsboro Technical College. And I was eventually licensed, and this should frighten you even more than me being the State Bar of Georgia president. I was eventually licensed as an EMT. I could start IVs. I could haul ass on any road. And I used the jaws of life to cut people out of vehicles. And I loved the excitement of it. It was very far from the record room. I also found that I enjoyed very much helping students. And so I decided I was going to be a doctor. And like most college students, somewhere in all those academic science classes, I just kind of fell out of love with that idea. I did finish my biology degree with honors and got a little more life experience. And I was at the University of Georgia, so I did what any good student at the University of Georgia does. I schemed and scammed to find me a way to hang out a little while longer. I wanted to be there so bad, I got a master's degree in accounting. From there, I went to Atlanta to be a corporate auditor. And if you know anything about corporate audits, you will know that it's pretty much the opposite of helping people. So my lovely wife, Leslie, somehow I cajoled her into doing this with me because we were already married at the time. We decided we would go to law school in Macon and buy a house and renovate it. Somehow I did finish law school and I did stay married. The house took another 10 years to finish, but as Meatloaf would say, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. After graduation, I found myself, and I needed a steady job because I had made some decisions like trying to renovate a house and go to law school and self-finance that. And so I wound up at a law firm. And we certainly help people, but that can be hard to feel when you bill your life in tenths of an hour. I have been incredibly blessed in my life, and there is a lot of serendipity at work. And my first trip to Amelia Island was 17 years ago. And that trip was because I was riding in a Chevrolet Tahoe that was taking us back from lunch or somewhere. And my friend Carl Varnado looked at me and said, "Ivy, the state bar has this meeting at the beach. And we have a good time, there's a good party, and there's a lot of good people there." And I thought, how on earth am I ever going to get to the beach? I ain't got no money, I'm broke, I just graduated from law school. And he's like, "Well, your law firm will help you." And I said, "All right." And so Carl Varnado encouraged me to come to my first meeting 17 years ago. And I got a lot of people to thank, but Carl, you spoke to me in something I could hear that night, and I appreciate you. Thank you. When I went to that meeting, I wound up sitting on the beach, having some beverages, having a good time. And I met somebody there who was in Macon, who was also another young associate who I did not know. And her name was Sarah White. Unbeknownst to me, about 2 weeks after we called, after we were at the beach, Sarah White called me and said, "Hey, Ivy, do you want to be the secretary of the Macon bar?" I was like, "This is easy. Yes, absolutely, I will." My bar leadership journey started because Sarah White called me at work one day. And Sarah, I will be forever grateful. Thank you. The next person I got to thank is Daryl Sutton. After eventually serving as the president of Macon Bar, I got a call from Daryl that Macon would have an open post on the Board of Governors. I spent that entire night telling people I'm going to run for the Board of Governors, and I hope you will support me. I've got Daryl to thank for missing much of the first half of the 2017 Super Bowl. You know, the one where the Falcons were beating the Patriots. I would like to add that here is hoping that my presidency ends without blowing a 21-3 lead. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to the officers and to the presidents who were in office as I went through my officer journey. I want to especially thank Elizabeth Fight, Sally Akins, and Tony Del Campo, who mentored me while I served as Secretary, Treasurer, and President-elect. Without your example, I would not be the leader I am today. And I am incredibly grateful to all of you for that. If you were at the reception last night, you know that Mercer Law knows how to show up and show out. Go Bears. Because I was building a house and trying to stay married, I was not the best law student one might have expected me to be. They overlooked that and let me go back to teach accounting for lawyers. And I have several former students here in the room who are, we've got a past president, we've got a president-elect of the YLD. Mercer is an awesome place that truly feeds the leadership of the state of Georgia. And I am so grateful. Dean Snedden hosted a wonderful reception last night. My former students, I am so grateful for you. I also have to give special thanks to Assistant Dean of Advocacy, Katie Powers, who frankly writes most of my speeches. As I sit and look on the first couple rows of this crowd, I realized, one, that I have a truly amazing group of people who have somehow influenced me in one way or the other. I have people that I go to breakfast with. I have people that grew up across the street from me. I have people who are orientation leaders with my wife. My life is incredibly enriched by this group, all of you, and I am so grateful. If you are one of those people, will you stand up? You know who you are. You don't want to stand up. You're sitting in the front of the room, Jeff. That's you. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Now, out of those folks, there are some special folks I got to thank. To Jerry and Paula Cadle, my parents. Your unwavering love and guidance have been the bedrock of my life. Words cannot express my gratitude to you. I am so very, very grateful for you. To my siblings, Don Cadle and Jean Marie Hunter, I know that you absolutely hate this kind of pomp and circumstance. I cannot tell you how thankful that I am that you are here today, along with Jolene and Jeannie. Thank you. To Leslie, my wonderful, remarkable, red hot, smoking hot wife. Who is a stone cold fox. Woo! You have been my partner in life and in law. Your support, understanding, and shared commitment to our marriage has been invaluable. Your dedication inspires me every day, and I am grateful beyond words for your presence in my life. I quite simply could not do this without you. I also have to thank my law firm. Baker Donaldson, when I arrived, had 3 past presidents of the State Bar of Georgia. I will be the 5th. Linda Klein, who's already been mentioned today. You are a magical human. When I got asked to do this, I called Linda and said, Linda, you think I can pull this off? And Linda says, yeah, you work all the time. You just like me, you'll be fine. Linda is a tireless advocate for so very, very many people. Her impact on the State Bar of Georgia and our profession cannot be fully stated. Linda, I am grateful for you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Linda had to do planes, trains, and automobiles to get here. She wanted to be here last night and she couldn't. So I also need to acknowledge you. And finally, I am so grateful to Baker Donaldson. We are a large law firm. We have over 650 lawyers, 22 offices across 13 states. And they have supported me incredibly. As the office managing shareholder, you get real good at that. So they have been incredibly supportive. The room key thing, I have to thank Brooke Redmond for. I had no idea. Y'all, I was in a hurry to get to my room. I was unpacking. I'm unpacking everything. I had already swiped into my room and gotten my room keys. And Leslie's like, Ivy, look at the room key. So thank you, Brooke. I know you're not here, but I hope you see this, and I wanted to thank you. With that, we will turn to a few thoughts on the upcoming bar year. Y'all, we are in a good place. Our bar is in good shape. Our staff is first rate. They do an excellent job. Our members receive a lot of bang for their buck, and we are working in the right direction. So my first priority as president, Damon, is to not get in the way of that. We do have some changes. As we know in life, change is a constant, and I get to deal with a lot of disgruntled young associates. And I always tell them, if you don't like things, just wait and they'll change for the better. But if you like the way things are, I got bad news for you. Things will change too. Well, we are going to have to figure out one of those transitions this year as Paula Frederick retires, as she has well earned and is well deserved. Paula, you have been absolutely awesome. I told y'all at the Board of Governors meeting, this is going to be Paula's victory lap. On July 1st, we'll welcome Russ Willard from the Georgia Attorney General's office to the State Bar as he begins to transition into the role of General Counsel. I am excited to work with Russ. While he will never replace Paula, I am confident that he will do an excellent job. As I talked earlier today, we're also going to look at what I just call compliance and internal governance. As I said earlier, just what is germane to the practice of law, as that is the standard we have to uphold as a mandatory bar. And in thinking of the work to do today, I was reminded of an inscription that I saw in my days at the University of Georgia. It said, "Sic vos non vobis," which means not for you, but for others. And so today, we need to look at our bylaws and at our rules, and we need to do the work for the next generation of lawyers. Today, the board passed Board Policy 1000, which sounds pretty innocuous, but it is very important to the work that we are doing as a mandatory bar and our ability to continue serving as a mandatory bar for the lawyers of the state of Georgia and the citizens of the state of Georgia. And so my CPA brain had me asking a simple question. And if you're lawyers, that's also the question you're going to ask is, well, what happens if somebody doesn't follow this policy? Because being lawyers, we are all here because we want to add whatever we have that we think is special to whatever we're doing. And that is admirable 90% of the time. But sometimes things don't go quite the way we planned it. When you add up the officers, the members of the executive committee, the board of governors, standing committees, special committees, program committees, boards, and sections, we literally have thousands of people doing the great work of the bar. And so one of the things that I want to do is take a look at our bylaws, take a look at our rules, and make sure that if something goes wrong, we have a mechanism in place to handle it. Quite simply, I want everybody to know what the mechanisms are, and I want us to have the tools that we need to do the work of the bar. My goal over the next few months is to work with the executive committee to issue spot and find ways that we can improve our processes and propose rules or bylaws for consideration by the board. Now, remember, number one is don't get in the way, right? So these are tiered. So if you have ideas about how we can do that or become more efficient with our internal governance, let me know. Other than that, I am incredibly grateful to so many of you who have shown up today to support me, shown up today because you care about the work of the bar, or just shown up because this is a fun crowd and a good time. So I am very much looking forward to serving as your 62nd president of the State Bar of Georgia. Thank you. I will now ask Tony and Sally if you would come up.
Good evening. It's the privilege and the delightful responsibility of the immediate past president to present a gift to the outgoing president. Y'all know that Tony has really done an amazing job leading us through this bar year. I think that one of the most wonderful aspects and qualities of a great leader is making a very hard job seem effortless. And that, my friend, is what you've done this year. It is a hard job, it is a tough job, but you made it look like it was no big whoop. So let's give him a round of applause for that. We've had the privilege throughout the year of listening to Tony as he's led us. And one of the things that has stuck out to me the most, Tony, is the fact that you are always grateful for those on your team and grateful for those around you. And you're also a very kind man. And that has shown out throughout your entire year. And I know for a fact, because I've been around you a lot, that you and your lovely wife, Kelly, enjoy some fine things in life from time to time. And so I would like to present you with your president's gift. Please note the brand name on the bag. Thank you. Sarah told me it was easy to open.
Very nice.
Okay. So it is a Baccarat wine decanter. However, I have to tell you that that's not all you're getting, because thanks to your anger translator, Dax Lopez, you are also going to have, when you arrive home in Atlanta, a collection of fine wine that Dax and the proprietor of your favorite wine store in Atlanta have selected especially for you. And I hope that my confidence in Dax, now that you have revealed him to be your anger translator, was not misplaced when I said, "Oh, sure, Dax, you can just keep it in Atlanta. You don't need to bring it to Florida to give to Tony. I trust you. You're not going to drink it." So we're hopeful that it actually arrives to you intact. But Tony, thank you so much for everything. I've absolutely and completely enjoyed, loved, and am so grateful for the opportunity to have worked with you and been with you and gotten to know you and Kelly so well. And I wish you all the best as you go forward in the next chapter.
I can't let this moment go by without adding, Tony, you have been an incredible leader. You have truly made this look easy. You are a duck that is paddling really hard, but you just look calm, cool, and collected on top. And it is admirable. And I strive to follow in your footsteps, my friend. Thank you. I got good news. This is the end of the program. I rolled up, my good friend Amanda Rodman Smith offered to bring my wife and myself over here so we didn't mess up our hair. There were no less than 5 of the largest U-Haul trucks that you could imagine parked in the parking lot after unloading the collection of whatever they have set up down at the other end of the conference center. So it promises to be a sight to behold. We have dinner in the Magnolia Ballroom. We have a bourbon and cigar lounge on the Magnolia Terrace just outside. And then we have the dance club set up in the Magnolia Ballroom with Yacht Rock Schooner, which promises to be a great time. I do want to tell you the reason we picked Yacht Rock Schooner is because in 2012, I got an ethics award and they came and played. And we had the most incredible time because of Stephanie Curie and Nay Cooper blew the entire YLD budget on the band. So when thinking of what do we want to do, I was like, I just want to have the good time that we had about 12 years ago. So I don't know if I'm going to be able physically to have as much fun as I did then, but I sure am going to try. And I encourage you to do the same. If you'll file out, we'll go that way. And some of y'all need to stay for pictures. So thank you. Have a great night.